Hey, Grandpa Trades. I see you on here. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm gonna send this link to people and then we'll get started. Hey guys, we can go ahead and get started here in just 1 second. I'm treating this like spaces, like I usually do a spaces on Thursday. So I'm just treating it just like the same, but through YouTube because there were so many glitches on the spaces, and every time I would try to record it, people couldn't hear it and it kept cutting off last week. So anyway, maybe this will work, maybe it won't, but we'll give it a shot. Um, I am so sick. I've got a terrible cold, so just excuse my voice, and if I'm sniffing and sneezing, that's why, but whatever. I'm still here. Um, and I can see you guys' comments. So if y'all have any questions, of course, pop it in there and I will go over it for sure. Okay, so it again, just handling this like our spaces that we were doing weekly, just kind of going over everything that we're in, and MSTU, especially because we're all in MSTU and it's not doing so hot, obviously. And that is due to Bitcoin and overall MSTR, but especially Bitcoin. So a lot of the trades that we've been in, obviously I trade mostly leveraged ETFs. And so those are a little bit riskier than our average play in the first place, our average trades. So there's that. But then also, this one's going to MSTU is going to rely on not only the market conditions because MSTR is a stock, but it's also going to rely on Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin, but all crypto. So we're relying on two separate things to make this stock move. Um, a lot of you, I think, have like just taken losses and closed out or went ahead and got assigned and we're going to sell covered calls. For me, I'm still like, thinking, well, it will have its day. So it's just a matter of how long you're willing to wait. I'm going to go back and say something that I've said before. I was stuck in TSLL for 7 months at $15 a share when it dropped to $6 a share. And I thought Tesla and TSLL were just dead. Like I thought they were just dead, and I was going to be stuck in this leveraged ETF for the rest of my life. And should I sell covered calls below my average, or should I take a loss, or so on and so forth, or sell some long dated covered calls? I didn't know what to do with it at the time because everybody was coming down on Tesla at the time. They were coming down on Elon, they were coming down on Tesla, they were coming down on everything about it. And Tesla had dropped to $100 a share. So in my mind, I was thinking it's a dead stock. All of a sudden, Tesla got its news that it needed, and it ran up. So it ran from $100 a share up to like $350 a share in a very short period of time. And that ran TSLL up to 41. And this is how these stocks move. AMD, same thing. I was stuck in AMD for a year and a half. And I call it stuck because I know AMD is a good company and I knew it would make a comeback. But holding something in my trading account for a year and a half was a lot. And, again, everyone coming down on AMD. It's dead. It's a dead stock. It went from 220 to 80, maybe even a little below 80. And, AMD is terrible. It's never going to compete with NVIDIA, and just on and on and on. I mean, it was just a terrible stock. Nobody wanted it. And now you see what AMD did. So MSTR as a company, I know it's not a Tesla or an AMD. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that when Bitcoin runs up and MSTR eventually gets some news or catches up, it will run up. I've seen it. I've watched MSTR because I have some in my long-term account. I've watched it, for 2 years go up and down, and it moves wild. So if you're a Bitcoin bull, if you are willing to wait, I think MSTU will be fine. So I wouldn't I'm not going to panic about it. I've got now 1,400 shares at a little under $5 cost basis now. I'm not panicked, and I'm down a lot of money, obviously, because I've got so many shares. I'm not panicked. I will be selling cover calls against half my position, and I will probably roll out some of the cash secured puts that I have. Cash secured puts that I have left. I might just roll them on out so that I'm not assigned too many shares. I don't want to have way too many shares. So that's my thoughts on it. I am more than happy to help you guys roll them. We can do that today, or we can do that tomorrow. Although, keep in mind, you could get assigned overnight. I think some of us got assigned. I know I did. And I saw 2 other people that got assigned the 450 cash secured puts that we had. I had 4 contracts, but only 1 got assigned. So you could get assigned overnight. I'm off work today, and I'm more than happy to help you guys roll it if anyone needs help. You just have to send me a DM with a screenshot of the trade, like if you had a 450 or a $5 or whatever cash secured put, how much you received in premium. I need to know that because that makes a difference. And then how much you're down. So if it's saying you're like $85 down, negative $85 or whatever, I need to see that as well. If I see those 3 things, I can help you get assigned. Biggest Woody, that is hilarious. You got assigned one of your 2. Yeah, that's so strange. I mean, it's not strange. I mean, somebody exercised it, but all right, let me see what else you guys have to say. MSTU 11-1-350. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Chairman 999. Charmin, you the November 21st, I think you're good. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Especially earnings are today after hours. So that's another thing. Earnings are today. So it is a risk. If you are fearful of this or you don't want to be in this, let's go ahead and get it rolled out before earnings today. Also, due to the earnings, the IV is going to be spiked. So if any of you are interested in entering a position that you have not entered yet, if you do not have any cash secured puts, or you want to average down on cash secured puts, this may be the time to do it. But again, MSTU, although it's cheap, which is one of the reasons I was willing to take the risk with it because it's so cheap. When I started selling cash secured puts, it was like below $6. So, I thought it was kind of worth the risk to try to get in and see what we could do with it. But it is underperforming, but that does not mean it's going to underperform forever. MSTR is not a dead stock. It's not bankrupt. It's not going to zero, and either is Bitcoin. So take it as that. The next one is BMNR and BMNU. Those are also not doing well. Again, good companies, not worried about it long-term at all. Well, a good company, not worried about it long-term at all, but it will follow Ethereum and crypto in general. So until Ethereum's back above 4,000, it's not going to be looking great. But I have got 400 shares of BMNU at a $26 cost basis, and we're at like 19 right now, so not looking great. I did sell one covered call, and that's doing well. See what else I've got. And then, they only have monthly expirations. So all the contracts that I have are November 21st. I've got two $15 puts. I have one $34 cash secured put, but I got paid $1,000 on that. So if we're anywhere at 24 or above by the expiration, I don't need to worry about it. I may not make money, but I won't lose money. Or I won't have to roll or anything like that or get assigned. And then I also have a $40. Oh no, that's the covered call, $40 covered call. Okay, so that's all I have with BMNU. I know you guys are in some of those too. Do you guys want to, I'm just reading your stuff. Are you buying any puts also? I'm not. I don't typically buy options. I will every once in a while. I'll either go way, way out with my expiration dates, like almost like a leap call or put. Or I might do it to like let me see. I might do it if I know for a fact something's going down, or to protect myself on the downside. But for something, like for instance, when TSLL used to run up like big time really, really quickly, I would buy a long dated put to protect myself from the downside, because I may have had a lot of cash secured puts or a lot of shares. And that way, if and when it drops, I'll make a little money on that. So, but you could also just do that by selling covered calls. But honestly, I've been bitten in the butt with covered calls so many times now, because we're in a bull market and it's not great. So, as I always say on here and everywhere else, just don't sell covered calls against your full position. Let's see, what else do you guys have to say before I move on to the next subject? Also, real quick, at the end of this, so I don't bore all of you guys, I'm going to talk to my new subscribers just about what I do in general and what we're doing here, because I got a bunch of new subscribers over the last week. And I know I've done that kind of spaces a million times, just going over everything for the new subscribers. So I'll do that at the end so that everybody else can drop off when you're ready. Okay, so let's see. Wolf, I have a $3 put expiring Friday. May roll it or take assignment. Okay, just let me know. I can help you if you want to roll it, or you may just want to take assignment. That would be a really good cost basis. Warren Gamble, thank you for joining yesterday. That's awesome. I appreciate you. And at the end of this, I will go over some details about my subscription if you want to listen in. For trade ideas on X, what portfolio size are you trading with? Just join subscription today. Okay, well, thank you for joining today. I'm usually trading with about $100,000. And some of that is margin. So if any of you want to learn more about margin and how I use it, I'll be more than happy to tell you guys. I could do like a quick overview on Spaces or here and tell you how I use margin as safe as possible. Again, using margin is never 100% safe, because you can if we had a market crash or bear market like we did in 2022, you get assigned shares, margin, you're gonna have to pay interest on it. So you just don't want to over leverage yourself with that. So So portfolio size, I'm trading with about $100,000 at a time. So I go in heavy on some things and some things I don't. So I always post about it and just let you know how heavy I'm going. If BMNU is at 19, I don't believe we have to worry about being assigned. I don't think so either. I think that we will run back up. So Ethereum just does that. All the crypto does that. It moves up, it moves down, and that's why a lot of people don't mess around with it because it is highly, highly volatile. And then we're jumping in on 2x leveraged, so we might be a little crazy, but that's okay. Also, the person that asked me about buying puts, I definitely don't buy puts often on leveraged ETFs because the IV is so high. The decay is just working against you unless your expiration date is really, really far out. So then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, Wolf. Let's see if it doesn't tank after earnings and stays above $2.99. I can get a better premium on a call at $3. Exactly. So, especially if you've only got one contract, that's not much money to worry about. I don't see MSTR going to the moon tonight. No, I don't either. And most of the time they go. It seems like they don't do well on earnings, but that doesn't mean it won't today. It's always a gamble, and you just never know. And if it drops, then it drops. Hey, whatever. We'll either average down or just wait. That's the thing. Sometimes you just have to wait. I wouldn't bet either way on MSTR. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. So, you know, for me right now, I feel like I'm a little over leveraged in um, crypto related stocks and ETFs. So I probably won't be adding much at this point. If we drop, if we have a big drop on MSTU, I may average down just by buying a few shares here and there, like 5 here and 5 there, and just average down that way versus going in with 100 shares at a time because I've already got so many shares. So, and I'm also in BMNR, BMNU, Clean Spark, Mara, CONL, which is Coinbase leveraged ETF. And in my small account, I've got BITX shares that I'm selling covered calls against, which I'm down on the shares, but the covered call premiums are amazing. So I'm not going to complain. And I also got a pretty good dividend with it, like $72. So I'm not complaining too much about it, although it's underperforming Bitcoin. Even when Bitcoin ran up to, all-time highs, it still didn't get to my cost basis. I've also got some Mara. I think that's it. So I'm and then MSTU, of course. And then I've got MSTR in my long-term account. So I have a lot of crypto related stocks and ETFs. So I don't think I'll be going in any heavier with what I've got because that's just a lot in my opinion. They're different names and they're kind of different sectors, but they're still all crypto related. So if we have a crypto crash or whatever, it won't be good for me. So I am selling aggressive covered calls against my CleanSpark and Mara shares. So I've been doing very well on those covered calls because each week it runs up. I'm able to sell the covered calls thinking I'm going to get assigned, and then it tanks. And I've got 400 Mara shares, and each week I'm selling contracts for like 25 each, and I'm making like $100 a week just on the covered calls. Eventually they'll get called away, and that's okay. That's fine with me. That these are for trading purposes only. So I have no problem with them being called away. Okay, so let's discuss BBAI. I know some of you don't want to trade it because it's not like a profitable company and so on and so forth. But in my opinion, it's a great stock to trade. It's not leveraged, but it has a high IV. It's a $6 stock. I've been playing it since it was $4 up to $10. Again, the whole thing with I got stuck with at one point with $6 or $7 shares. I was stuck for a while, and hey, Rod. Oh, is this test? Okay, well, this is a test. I've never done this. So, yeah. Um, are you still invited as a person? Let's see. As a guest? I don't know how to do this, so I'll try. Let me see about this real quick. I can go over here. Sorry, y'all. Rod was helping me get this set up because I honestly have no idea how to do this. So we got it done though, and we're here, so whatever. It's not like I'm some popular famous YouTuber that anybody's gonna be watching this except you guys. So I'm not worried about it. Okay, so back to BBAI. I like BBAI. Due to the fact that it's still in the AI bubble, and it's low cost. Again, I was stuck in it at $6 or whatever. I was stuck in it for a while, and again thought it was a dead one, and then it ran up to 10. So don't ever think these stocks or ETFs are just dead, because they're not. They're highly traded. If they're highly traded stocks and you see that they've got a lot of open interest and all of these things, they will move. Eventually they're going to move. So you just have to just wait it out sometimes. So we can't be impatient with some of these if we get assigned, and you just have to wait. And also don't think, oh my gosh, it's a dead stock, I'm just going to go ahead and sell covered calls against my full position. Who cares? It's dead. Because then you'll wish you didn't. Every single time you will wish you didn't, because it will run up right after you do that. So anyway, there's that. I'm in BBAI. I'm down to 400 shares now because I've had shares called away. But I've got one covered call expiring tomorrow, and then I've got 25, 35, 40 cash secured puts at the moment. And they're all up except the November 28th and the December 19th cash secured puts, and I'm at about break even on those. So if anybody wanted to enter those, I can tell you the trade again, or you can just look at the sub posts. They're in there. So I really do like BBAI. And I just found out this morning, I was watching Amit on YouTube, and there was a politician that bought like a ton. I can't even remember the number. It was a lot, though, a lot of BBAI. So, these politicians, they have insider news. So something is going to, she knows something. It was a female. She knows something. Something's going to happen here. You don't put that kind of money in a speculative stock if something's not about to happen. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so we've also been trading Bull, Bull. I'm in $12 cash secured puts expiring tomorrow. I did get paid $98 on those. And I've got 11 contracts. So if we miraculously hit $12 tomorrow, I'll make almost $1,100. If we don't, which I doubt we will, anything above $11.02, I will make money, because I got paid $98 per contract on a $12 cash secured put. So that puts me at 1102 cost basis. So if we're above 1102, I can close it out at break even or take small profits. I don't think I want to get assigned these shares. So if worse comes to worse, I will just roll these out. But I don't know. We'll have to just see where we're at tomorrow. I know a lot of you were in it, and I'm glad that when I got in at 12 and then it dropped, I told you guys to get in at 11. So hopefully you guys are in that and will do well with it. Again, if you're not and you want to roll it out, or you want me to help you figure out what you should do with it, just DM me. Again, all I need to know is the strike, how much you got paid, and how much you're down, and I can help you. Okay, so before we go to the next, let me answer any questions. Yes, Rod, I need 451 more subscribers here. It's weird that people don't just subscribe. It's free. Just hit the button. Okay. Ask Lone Ranger. Anyone in MSTU, just continue to be patient with it. Let earnings play out and roll a position if necessary. If it's only a paper loss. Exactly. Patience pays off. You're exactly right. I mean, I could sit here right now and tell you how many times that I just refuse to take a loss on something, and my patience has paid off. And I've gone into a couple of names already, but another one was Clean Spark. I mean, I've been down on Clean Spark for probably a year and just thinking it's dead. I don't like it anymore. It's not following Bitcoin. It doesn't have the high IV like it used to. It wasn't heavily traded like it used to. And I've just been down on it for so long. And I've got 500 shares. I'm up $3,000 on my shares right now because of this big run up. It's at $18 now. And it was above 20 last week. And I sold some covered calls. So I'll be making some money on those covered calls tomorrow. I had $21 covered calls, and I actually was hoping I would lose those shares, but I'm not, and I'm going to make $102 on the covered calls, so that's fine. And then I've got some more covered calls expiring in November. So, it is what it is. I'm making some money one way or the other on it, but again, just patience, patience, patience. I have been in Mara for a year, positive in total return after a year, 550 shares. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That's great. And Mara has had a huge run up recently. So that's really good. Are you, Wolf, are you selling covered calls? I know you're not necessarily options trader yet that much, but I was curious if you're selling covered calls against those. Let me talk about another stock, Red Cat. Red Cat is another one that we have been trading. I do actually think it's a good long-term hold. So if you happen to get assigned shares, I would let those be assigned. I would not have a problem getting assigned shares of that stock. It will run up eventually. And if it doesn't, then you can average down more and we can keep going from there. But someone in our chat yesterday recommended the $11, what was it? $11 cash secured put for $30 expiring tomorrow. I think we're going to do well on that. So that was a good idea. And I'm just going to go over that real quick. How many? Sorry, y'all, my doggy's crying. I've got 11 cash secured puts on RCAT. And I really, really like RCAT. So I will definitely be doing more of those, selling more of those as we go. Oh, you have 23 expiring this Friday. 23, I'm assuming you mean $23 strike. That's awesome. $23 and one left uncovered. Perfect. See, smart. Always leave some uncovered. Don't make my mistake and cover all of your shares, and then you end up screwed. Okay, so let's see. Open. Yes, I do trade open. My thoughts on it though, and this is just me, I could be dead wrong, but in my opinion, Open Door is a pump and dump. I do not think long term it's going to last. I think, the retail investors and everybody's going to run it up and then they're going to sell it. And it's going to drop right on back down to under $3 and people are going to get stuck holding it. So don't get stuck holding it. I was selling cash secured puts on it and I made some good money and I took a good little chunk of profit yesterday. Actually, I posted about it. I won't be opening new cash secured puts right now just because they have earnings coming up. Earnings do not scare me if it's a stock I want to own. So like TSLL, earnings didn't scare me. I really wanted to take advantage of that high IV and sell as many TSLL cash secured puts and covered calls and everything as I could to take advantage of that high IV and the high premiums because I'm not scared of it. If I got assigned more shares of TSLL within my sweet spot, I'm perfectly happy. Because I've lost a bunch, I've sold a bunch and I've lost some of covered calls and whatever. I've only got like 800 left and I had 2,900, but I'm taking good profit. So I'm not complaining, but TSLL, maybe AMDL, because again, AMD, if it went through earnings and it didn't do well and I was assigned shares of AMDL, that's fine. BBAI, that's fine. Open Door, I do not want to get stuck with shares of that stock, in my opinion, not this high. People that got in when it was low, like, people got in when it was, $3, maybe, good for them. And that's awesome. And they're way up and they're doing well with it. So hold those shares. Sure. But for me, I don't own shares and I don't want any shares. So I'm leaving it alone. I might jump back in after earnings. We'll see if it drops after earnings. I'll jump back in, but I am not going to actively sell more right now. When do they have earnings? Let's check that out. Do any of you guys own open shares? And if you do, what is your cost basis? They have earnings on 11/6, so next week, right? That's next week. Yeah, next Thursday. That'll be fun to watch, even though I don't want to be a part of it. So yeah, if you guys own open shares, I'd love to know. Let's see. Well, if I've been trading puts on open, but I don't know what it will do after earnings, so I skip next week. Yeah, me too. Me too. And if it drops after earnings and the IV is still looking good and it's, still doing well, I'll definitely jump in with sell some more puts. That would be, it's a fun one. I really like it. I have to be, my risk tolerance is a little lower on that one. Okay, Matt, are you still wanting to get up to 5,000 shares? Yes, I do. Heck yeah, I do. I mean, that was my goal, is to get 5,000 shares of TSLL under $12. And I ended up with 2,900 shares at $12 before the run up. So, and then it ran up and whatever. I do not want 5,000 shares above $12. That's still my, I don't mind being assigned some shares below 14. I don't mind that at all, because, you can still average down and get it to 12. That's how I ended up with that $12 cost basis. I had some at 14 and then I had some at 10. And then everywhere in between. So I ended up with a $12 cost basis. So I don't mind getting assigned at 14 or below. And I, of course, don't mind getting assigned at 10 or whatever. So, but I don't want 5,000 shares above 14. So, I'm trading it a little lighter than I was. Okay. Matt, I only have 100 shares of open. A cost basis $8.35. Easily average down. Just haven't yet. Are you selling a covered call? Because now might be a good time with earnings. You might get pretty good premiums, unless you're not wanting to sell them, then that's fine. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about here. Those are my main plays right now. I do want to talk a little bit about TSLL again. For me, TSLL is still going to be my favorite to trade. I went into MSTU and some other crypto, like we already talked about, crypto related stuff. Any money that I get from finally losing shares of CleanSpark and Mara and all of these, I'm not going to go back in and sell more cash secured puts of those names. I'm going to let them go and go back to TSLL, because again, I have too much crypto related stuff, stocks and ETFs. So I'm going to get out of them and just move on. I don't want those anymore. I don't want them long term anymore. So I will go with TSLL. So what I'm doing is I am going to go further out with my expiration. So I'm assuming you guys saw the post this morning that I sold some December 5th, $16 TSLL cash secured puts. I started a position, so I only sold 2 contracts. The December 5th expiration just opened up, like, I don't know, last week. So it doesn't have a lot of open interest yet. So I'm going slowly into that. Plus I really don't want to be assigned at 16. So I only opened 2 contracts. Right now it looks like I got paid 60 on those. It looks like if anybody wanted to open any, they could get paid 80. So I may open one more for 80 to receive $80. And then I may open more if it gets to $100 premium. So I'll kind of play that one by ear. Then what was the other one I did this morning? It was the January, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, the January 16, $13.43 cash secured put. The reason it has the 43 cents, the reason it's weird like that is because they're going to pay a dividend by then. So it kind of screws up the strikes a little bit. So no big deal on that. But 1343 is the strike. I got paid $110 on those. I went ahead and did 6 because I'm not concerned with those at all because my cost basis would be, 12-ish. So I went in on 6. I mean, I'll go heavy on that one, because we have time. October, November, December. So we got like 2.5 months on those. Seems like a long time, but 2.5 months is pretty quick. And we don't have to hold till expiration if we get a good run up. I may go in with like 20 of those contracts as I'm closing out other ones because I've got 12. I've got a lot of contracts that I'm still holding. I think I've got like 30. But I have 12 $13 cash secured puts on November 17th that are already up 80%. So I'll be closing those out and I'll probably put that money into the January for 2 reasons. One, because I like that price point, and 2, because hey, if we ride it till January, we won't have to pay taxes on that until next year. So, I mean, we're coming up on the end of the year here. So, and I'm going to be cashing out a bunch of these cash secured puts by the end of the year. And so anything that I can push off till next year, I'm going to do it. So to avoid that. Okay, Matt, I have been doing a CC each week at 850 just for a small win. Hey, that's good. I'm going to tell y'all about a ETF that I got stuck in last year, and it's terrible, horrible. But it is BOIL, BOIL. And I'm down literally, I don't know, like $8,000 on it. I mean, it just, as soon as I got assigned, it has gone straight down. But I'm selling covered calls against this, and I'm making $100 a month. So I'm like, yes, I'm down on it. It may recover, it may never recover. But how many stocks do you make $100 a month on by selling covered calls? So, and usually I'm selling it like 2 months out and I'm receiving like $200. So I'm, sometimes it's just like a blessing in disguise when you can sell covered calls and, other people, and if Rod is in here, he'll know what I'm talking about. They're in, high yield, leveraged, or whatever they're called, high yield, like TSLY and stuff, like Yield Max, and there's some others. They're going to be way down on their shares, and they don't care because they're getting paid every month those high yield dividends. So they're bringing in money every month, even though they're way down on their share price, and they don't care because they're going to keep them forever and just get paid every month. I own TSLY. I own 865 shares. I'm down $4,000 on those shares, which is 37%. But I'm getting paid on those very well. I mean, if you add up all the dividends that I've received, it is well over $4,000, like well over. I mean, it's thousands over $4,000. So I'm up on those, and now TSLY is paying weekly dividends. So I make like $100 a week on it. So, I'm thinking it's the same kind of deal with this other stock that I was telling you about. If you can sell covered calls, you can create your own dividend, even if you're down on a stock or an ETF. So that's kind of how I play it. Because I don't want to take that huge loss on BOIL, but I will never play that name again. That was a mistake. Okay, so I guess that's about it. I've kind of gone over everything. Do you guys have any questions? If you do, you can just put them on here real quick and I will answer them. I actually write 10 to 12 contracts every week, but make $50 a week above my shares. See, that's perfect. That's great. I mean, covered calls can really be, they're just both. They're a blessing and I've been hurt by them a lot as well. So, we'll see. We'll see. That's all we can do. But the only thing I can tell everybody is please, please, please don't sell covered calls against your full position. Just take my advice. What you can do is, let's say you've got 600 shares of TSLL. You could sell 3 covered calls. Okay, once you are getting close to expiration, and you're 90% sure you're not going to have your shares called away, or you want to go ahead and close those, you can go ahead and sell the next 3. So you can overlap them a little bit. Go ahead and sell your next one for the next expiration, like that. You can overlap. but just don't sell them all at one strike or expiration, because you can really, really lose a lot of money. Not your money, but potential gains you can lose. Okay, so anybody that wants to drop off, feel free. I'm just going to go into my subscription really quick. It won't be a long, drawn-out process, but just kind of tell everybody what I'm doing here and what to expect moving forward and all of that. So if you don't want to listen, you don't have to. You can drop off. Okay, so just to introduce myself to my new traders, I have been trading since 2020, and I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, bought leaps in 2021. Leaps are long dated calls or puts, but I had calls in 2021, and we went into a bear market in 2022. I lost like $20,000 on that. Plus, all my shares that I had owned were down, and, it was a mess. So I decided to start learning how to sell puts. And I don't know if you guys know Market Moves Matt. He's on YouTube and on X, but I have him to thank because I went on and just watched all of his videos back in 2022 about how to sell puts. And I knew the basics, and I was actually had some already that I had sold. But he got into more of the details that I needed to know, as far as like the delta and the expiration dates and how far to go out, and whatever, all the stuff you really should know. And so I really just dove in and learned and did a bunch of paper trading first, because again, I had already lost so much money. I was not about to go in and try and lose more. So I did a bunch of paper trading to really master it. But I was selling puts with SoFi and DraftKings and whatever, but they were SoFi was $8 at the time. And then I decided to go a little heavier once I got comfortable. This was in 2023, and I started selling one contract of Tesla, just one. Tesla was only $190 then, but it still required $19,000 for one contract, which it's a lot of money to anyone, but it was most of my trading portfolio at the time. So I was just selling one contract at a time. It got kind of boring, and it was a little bit risky to have all of your trading money in one stock. Hang on. All of your trading money in one stock, where if you got assigned the shares and it dropped, your money was just held up. So that's when I found TSLL. Started trading it from $6 up to $41. And if you guys want to go through some of my shorts and videos here on YouTube, I try to make them short and sweet and to the point. Not a bunch of, like right now I'm, blabbering, but on those, I really try to make it short and sweet and to the point, and you can learn what you need to know and move on. So any questions you have about like those kind of things and leveraged ETFs and all that, there is a video for it on my channel. So you can just scroll through, and it's pretty cut and dry. So then when I found leveraged ETFs, I was like, oh, wow, this is great. They move faster. They've got a higher IV. They're cheap. So, you can go in with a bunch of TSLL shares versus, you would need $40,000 for one contract of Tesla right now. So, for me, my risk tolerance is a little higher because this is not my main source of income. So I mostly trade leveraged ETFs. So that's what my subscription is about. I started this subscription when I was heavily trading TSLL. It was in its sweet spot of $10 to $14, even in $10 to $12. And I just went wild. I used as much of my money and margin as I could to get into these trades. I was telling everybody, subscribe to me and let me show you how to trade this, because it was a win-win situation. Like it was a win-win, whether you got assigned shares or whether you didn't and you just collected premium. Either way, you were going to make money on TSLL. So that's how my subscription got started. Then TSLL went up out of our price range. So we switched over to AMDL because, again, AMD, good company, lagging in the market. We only got to trade that for a couple of weeks before, it ran up. So now I've got a few cash secured puts left, but we'll see. If that one takes a little dip at some point, we'll jump back in that one too. It's a good one. Not quite as good as TSLL, but it's good. So that's how this subscription got started. And, I'm no financial advisor. I'm just a trader, but I've been doing it for a long time. And I just really like to help everyone make money. When you are reading my posts, and I'm telling you what I'm sharing my trade, it's always going to be a sold put. If I or sold call, it's going to be a sold option, not a buy option. If I ever buy an option, I will tell you, but I will also say, this is a bought option. You can lose the entire amount of premium that you were paying for this, and so on and so forth. So I'll go into all the details about how risky it is, because buying is always riskier than selling. So I'll be sure to say that. Otherwise, it is a sold, call, or put. And what we are trying to do here is create the wheel. So you sell puts until you're eventually assigned shares. So all of us have been assigned some MSTU shares now. So we can sell covered calls against those. If you want to, you can continue selling cash secured puts against it, and then you've got a wheel where you're going to make money whether it goes up or down. Doesn't matter. And so that's my way of trading. And it's not going to be the quick gains of day trading and this and that, but it's consistent gains. So I don't take all my money and throw it in one expiration and one strike. Let's say I had $10,000 right now and I wanted to jump in TSLL. I would go in with some, where are we trading right now? Just so I can say, I would go in, we're at $20. Okay, I would go in with some $16 strike. I would go in with some $14 strike. I would go in from expiration dates from November 14th, November 21st, December 5th, December 19, January. Go in and do various strikes and expirations. It'll one, cut your risk, and two, it'll keep you moving where you're going to have something expiring each week, and that way you're getting paid weekly. So as an example, I've got some 1750 TSLL cash secured puts expiring tomorrow, 3 of them. When those expire, I'm going to have $1,750 times 3. So whatever that is, you can do the math. $4,000 or something that I can put into the next one. So I will look down at my other trades and see what I'm down on or break even at. So I do have some expiring on November 7th. I'm already up. I've got some on the 14th. I'm already up. 21st, I'm already up. So the next one would be that I have expiring would be the December 5th, the one that I entered this morning. So I will dump that money into that one. And then just wait for it. If it runs up, I'll close it early. If it doesn't, I will add to that position. And so I just keep going out like that. And I know that, when I say, oh, let's open a January contract, it sounds like it's far, far away. January, it's going to be 2026. It just seems like it's a long time away. It's not. Number one, it's only 2.5 months. And the amount of premium that you can receive on that is going to be fire. Second, you do not have to hold till expiration. You can actually, if you look back at some of my posts, I just closed a few contracts this week that I had expiring, I believe in January, maybe even March. I went ahead and closed them and made a pretty good chunk of money on those. Let's see what it was. Yeah, it was a January. It was 2 January cash secured puts that I had sold, a month ago or more, and I went ahead and closed them out, made $332 on Tuesday. So these long dated cash secured puts, I mean, they're not a bad idea, especially if you want to get assigned lower. The bad side is you could have your money held up until January if we don't run up. So, it's risk to reward. You just have to decide on your own. And Rod says, all in ASST. Yeah, let's do that. I recommend that for everybody. So Rod and I decided to do a couple of risky trades on our own. And so I had 2 ASST cash secured puts I got assigned shares at 150, which not horrible. And then I've got two more expiring tomorrow. What is at 250? My strike is 250, but I got paid 115, so I'm only down $20 on those. I may just take the loss and move on. But Rod, what do you have on those? I don't know if you can talk, but if you can. I invited you as a guest, so you have to go to your DM over on X to pull it up. But anyway, if you can talk, or if you just want to do it in here, I want to know what your ASST position is. Wolf owns 800 shares. And 402 accounts. What is your average on your ASST, Wolf? Rod, you have 7 expiring tomorrow. Okay. $3 strike. How much did you get paid on those? I'm assuming pretty good. 100 at least. Grandpa trades. Yeah, our cat's doing really well for us. I think okay, I'm going to say my 3 favorites to trade right now are going to be TSLL, RCAT, and BBAI. Those are going to be my 3 favorite at the moment that I would say are the lowest risks for my type of trading. I'm not saying they're low risk, but I'm saying they're low risks for my risk tolerance. Okay, so you got paid 150 on this. So okay, so if you're assigned, you'll be at a 150 cost basis. That's not bad. That's where mine is too. And I guess somebody said they would like for me to go over margin. I can tell you how I use margin real quick. Anybody that wants to drop off, feel free. I use margin carefully because again, we're at all-time highs on this market, and if we have a significant pullback, I don't think we're going to have a market crash, but if we have a significant pullback and I end up assigned a bunch of shares of something, I will start accumulating interest on the margin that I borrowed. So margin is basically like any other loan. It's like a house loan, car loan, credit card loan. You pay interest on the loan. So as long as you're making more than the interest that you're paying out, it's fine. So a lot of people will use it for like yield max or those kind of ETFs because they're going to make more than they're paying with the margin loan, and that's fine. For me though, that's not how I'm doing it, and I don't want to get stuck in leveraged ETFs that could drop, and I won't even be able to sell covered calls. So let's say I get assigned a bunch of shares of TSLL, and it's using margin. Okay, at first I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll sell covered calls. I'll wait for it to run back up. I'll sell the shares, no problem. If TSLL drops back to $6, $8, like it has done in the past, it was just at $6 in April, and I get stuck holding shares at, I don't know, 14, 15 bucks. I can't even sell covered calls, and I'm going to have to pay interest on this margin. So what I do is I only borrow enough that I can pay back. So I've got a savings account, as everyone should have a savings account on the side that is for emergency purposes, your emergency fund for 6 months of living, or however you want to work it. But you should definitely have a savings account. You don't want all of your money wrapped up in stocks and ETFs, because if we do end up in any kind of crash or pullback, or even just a stock that you're in has a pullback, you can't get that money out without taking a loss. So I have a savings account that I keep money in. So if I, for instance, had a margin, I got $10,000, let's say, in TSLL. Again, at first, I'm not going to worry about it. I know TSLL will run back up. I can sell covered calls. It's fine. If we have a significant pullback and TSLL drops to, I don't know, $8, and I can't sell covered calls if I own shares at 14. I mean, like, it's almost impossible unless you want to go way out with your expiration, which I don't recommend because then you're stuck. At that point, I would take $10,000 out of my savings account. I would put it in to cover the margin so that I'm not paying interest. And then when it eventually runs back up, which it will, I will take my $10,000 back out. That way I can cover it. I don't want to be stuck paying interest on something that I'm not making money on. So again, if I own the stocks and I'm selling covered calls and making more money on the covered calls and I'm losing an interest, well, great, that's fine. Or even break even, that's fine. But you just don't want to get stuck. I've seen people get stuck at margin calls. They have to sell stuff at a loss because they have to, and you just don't want to get stuck in that situation. And I've seen people in really, really tough situations that have overdone it with the margin. They've borrowed $50,000, $60,000. They can't pay it back, and they're stuck, and they've got margin calls. And your platform will sell your shares for you. I mean, they'll share them, they'll sell them because they're going to take their money. I know all platforms are different, but they will get their money, which could leave you in a bad situation and a bad loss. One more thing about that is most platforms do not charge interest if you're borrowing the money as collateral. I know Robinhood and E-Trade do not charge any interest. So for instance, I'm going in with $10,000. I'm selling $10 cash secured puts on something. That collateral being held by my broker, they do not charge interest on that. So that's a really good way. And that is the reason I use margin, because it's free money. It's free money for cash secured puts. But again, market tanks, you're stuck with shares, then you're stuck. So, that is what it is. You can think about it. If you need more information or you don't understand what I'm saying about anything that I've discussed today, please just DM me on X and I can definitely help you with it. But I think that's all for today. I mean, I don't really have anything else to talk about. I just wanted to calm everybody down about MSTU. And there are ways out. We could take a little loss on it, roll them out. We can sell covered calls, which is what I'm going to do. And we can wait because it will recover. You can mark my words, it will recover. I don't have a date on that. I wish I did, but I don't have a date on that. But it will recover. So I just don't want everybody to be worried. I was going to look at MSTU. Just while I have you guys on here, my cost basis is $5. I know a lot of you are in lower. You're very lucky. But I was looking at selling, let's see, I think it was November 28th, $5 calls. Again, I've got 1,400 shares, so I may go in with if I can get $10 per contract, I may go in with 6 contracts, maybe even 7, and get $60 or $70. That'll be, how many weeks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a month out, and I'll try to get $60, $70. I'll try to get $10 per contract. So, hey, if I can sit here and make $70 a month on these or more while I wait for it to run back up, I'm okay with it. But, you guys have to know your risk tolerance, and you don't want all of your trading money wrapped up in one stock or ETF. And you never should. I don't care if I go on and say, y'all, this is the best thing I've ever done. This trade it can't go wrong. 100%, it can't go wrong. Don't put all your money in it. Put some money in it. Don't put all your money in it, because anything can go wrong in the stock market. Wolf is the best subscriber you'll ever have. I know, he's so sweet and supportive. Thank you, Wolf. And I'm looking at his shares. He's at 145 and 198. That's not bad. Biggest Woody, that your name just cracks me up. Mine is like 7. 7 on what? MSTU? If so, you might just want to wait and see if you can get that, get it back up before you sell any covered calls. But that's it, y'all. I would suggest anyone that's not, oh yeah, it is MSTU. Okay, so your average is 7. That's kind of high. How many shares do you have? Because if you only have like 100, maybe you could just buy another 100 at 3, get your cost basis down to 5. If you've got, like 1,400 like me, it'll take a little longer for me to get my cost basis down. Oh, 12, yeah, you do. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you could, another way that I kind of play this is, what if you took 100 out of that? Like you've got 1,200, so take 100 out and So that way you have 1,100 at a $7 cost basis. Take 100 of that, buy 100, and put those two together. So you've got 200 at a $5 cost basis, and go ahead and sell covered calls at $5 strikes until you lose those shares. Then take another 100 out of that 1,100 lot, and kind of do it like that, and then you can kind of start getting out of it if you want to. Grandpa trades, you're 1,500 at, okay, so you're pretty much where I am. I'm 1,400 at a $5, little under 5. So you're doing better than me. So if you want to, you could go out with me to the 11/28 expiration and sell some $5 puts. We may regret it. If it runs up to 6, we're going to be mad. But, you know, in the meantime, maybe we could just do like 5, start with 5 and see what happens. 5 covered calls. How do we know this is the real Tesla groupie? Well, because Tesla groupie's got a cold and I sound like a man. So that's how you know. Next time I'll put my face on, but I've got a cold, and y'all, I got my dog spayed yesterday, and she's just whiny and sad and in my lap. So I didn't have time to do any hair and makeup, and I don't want to scare you guys without the hair and makeup. So next time I'll try to do a live with my face, make it more personable. Only 300 are real high above 9. Yeah, I have calls on 600. Oh, okay, good. I know, poor Callie. It is. Thanks, Mink. Yeah, she I was supposed to get her fixed like, I don't know, 3 months ago or something, and she went into heat. That was a big pain in the butt all in itself. And they wouldn't do it because she's so small, they won't fix the dog while they're in heat. So I had to wait. And then I was going out of town, so I didn't want to do it before I went out of town. So finally I pulled the trigger yesterday. So my poor baby, she's just so pathetic and just laying here in my lap. It's so cute and sweet. But yeah, she's not doing great. I mean, she's doing fine, but she's not happy. So I think that's it. Does anybody else have anything? I have calls on 600. Okay, that's good. So that's about it. Just MSTU, guys, just be patient. I know some of you in my subscription just actually bought shares and they're a little high. And, you know, it is what it is. I've got shares that I'm way down on MSTU. BMNU, I am way down. That's a part of the game. That's just what it does. You know, stock market doesn't just go up every single day. So I've got CONL shares that I'm down like $1,300 on. I'm just not worried about it. They're gonna come back. So once you've been trading as long as I have, you just don't panic about these little moves. The more shares you own, the more you're going to be down on a small move. You know, if you have 1,000 shares of something and it drops $1, you're down $1,000. So you just have to think about that. It's not that big of a deal. $1 is not a big deal. But it can look like a big deal when you look at your losses, paper losses. So I know you experienced traders already know that, but some of my new traders, you know, it's scary. And I remember when the first stock that I ever went heavy on was Wells Fargo because a YouTuber said it was going to run up, and I was down $300. And every single day I looked at it and I was like almost in tears about my little $300. But it finally ran up, and I made 200 on the trade total. So I recovered my 300, made 200, and I was happy. So, you know, you just got to wait it out. All right, well, I guess we are all done here. You know what, real quick, there's a little thing here. Oh, never mind. I'm just kind of practicing. Y'all, anybody that wants to drop off can. I'm gonna practice with some of the little things on this thing real quick while I'm on here. So they've got banners, so I can post this. Thank you for joining. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is my actual first time on here, guys, so. Okay, and they've got little loops, and they've got colors. I can make it cute and pretty. Okay. Well, I will say this is pretty user friendly if you just want to do the basics. If you're trying to get into other stuff, it's going to take me a minute. But hey, we got it done. I do not know more than you. But I was able to get my camera off the screen, so at least I figured that part out. Um, so I'm just gonna practice more on this, and but hey, this is just like our spaces, except I think it's gonna do better as far as when people go back to listen to it, and hopefully you guys didn't have any issues joining and listening, and if you did, let me know. And that's it. So I will let you guys go, and I'll be over on X if you guys have any questions. Thank you for joining.